What I took away from this was two really important lessons for my instructors. First, they gave me multiple forms of feedback. I got technical, personal, emotional, social feedback. I learned a lot about what I was, who I am, what I can do. The other thing is, these instructors, they helped me find meaning. And they summed me up. They found a way to do that with this quote from E.B. White. I rise in the morning torn between a desire to save the world and a desire to enjoy the world. And this makes it hard to plan the day. I like that quote because for the first time, I'm not just a nice kid, I'm complicated. Yeah, rock climbing, it really is about solving complex problems. I ran with this. This is a really exciting thing. Here's 5 jobs that didn't exist 10 years ago. App developer, sustainability expert, a user experience designer. I'm still working on knowing what that means. My point is, whatever it is you taught this week or last week, it's not going to matter in 10 years. It's not going to matter. What's going to matter is the way you assess. Your assessment and feedback is going to matter. The content changes too fast, but your assessment will leave a mark. So how do we do this? Well, we give more and better feedback. Assessment without feedback is an insult to our learners. How many of you have taken the GRE? Show of hands. Okay, oh wow. How many of you remember what you learned from that assessment? Yeah, that's what I thought. Right, you get it. How many of you have written a 30-page paper and gotten the equivalent of nice job? Right, or worse, a 3.5. Reduced to a decimal, no less. What we do to find this is we do what we've always done in experiential learning. We look at reflection and storytelling. We're able to see cognitive, affective, emotional, social, career-related outcomes from this when we look. And in the academy, in higher education, where I work and where I make my living, our currency is data. So we have to capture it. We have to collect this. And so we use video. And in this really interesting historical moment right now, where technology and youthful narcissism have come together, our students are really familiar with video. They know what to do with it. Right? This isn't hard to implement. How many of you have a camera in your pocket with audio and the ability to edit? You might. Or there's a free app for that. And if there isn't a free one, 99 cents isn't bad. After we use video, we get our learners to do a video selfie. 2 minutes at a time for maybe 4 times over a semester. It's a format that parallels the regular instruction of a course or a co-curricular experience, and it helps us capture this information. Our instructors do and capture the intended learning outcomes. They assess for that. That's foundational to this. We're working with our instructional partners and faculty. And what we do here is we add perspectives that add value. We take an assessment team approach to these learner artifacts, and we look at them from multiple perspectives. Just like I learned technical and personal and social outcomes in the field, we can do this with our learners in classrooms, in internships, in study abroad. And we did this on a study abroad course last summer, and it was a writing intensive department. It was a writing intensive course led by the writing chair. And our assessment team looked at the data, and we found 17 additional learning outcomes categories besides what were intended in that course. Things like broadening perspective, sort of one of the categories we came up with. Things like experiencing cognitive dissonance. I mean, these are really important things. These are things we recognize. We know what to do with this. This is good stuff. And these audiences, these additional audiences, they put more eyes on our learners, and more eyes gives us a chance to do more assessment. And more assessment in higher ed eventually leads to more credit. And this, my friends, is hard to resist. Credit is a currency. It's a really welcome idea. It's like that red neon sign in the Krispy Kreme shop. That light goes on, it's hard to walk away from that. People like credit in higher ed. This is a real thing. And it's an easy sell. When we can produce these kinds of learning outcomes, when we can demonstrate the data, our administrators like it, our faculty like it, they can improve their work, our accreditors like it, and what's really important is that our students benefit from it. Our students get more back for having been part of this experience. We're successful when when our assessment connects learners to meaning. So join me, come with me, find a way Connect your powerful experiences with equally powerful assessments. Give good feedback. And for the sake of the nice kids in the room, the nice kids in your class, know that we can make a difference.
Next up, the Assistant Director of Outdoor Leadership at Hamilton College and a graduate student studying adventure education with Prescott College. Her research interest is in understanding the conditions under which people thrive. She has been with AEE for 9 years, serving on the Northeast Regional Advisory Board for 6 years, and convening a Northeast Regional Conference. Please welcome Sarah Gillings.
Well, this is terrifying. As an educator, facilitator, and instructor, I am really good at seeing into people, and I am really not so good at letting myself be seen. This is a story about being seen, being real, the power of stories, and the people that guide me. I work at a college in central New York. This is a job, by the way, that I absolutely love. In the fall of 2012, 3 students independent from each other come walking into my office, and they're all grappling with really tough college and post-college decisions. Will Robertson, a really talented musician, he's terrified to pursue his own music career, even though he would be so fantastic at it. A sophomore, Marco, was struggling to make Hamilton his place, and he was thinking so hard about leaving the school. Emmy, a newly elected outing club officer, felt a lot of pressure to keep playing soccer from her teammates and her coach, even though she really wanted to do more outdoor pursuits. In each of these cases, the struggles were the same. There was a feeling of each going against the grain of social expectation. Each faced uncertainty with social and or financial consequences, and each involved battling their internalized shoulds and oughts around notions of commitment and their future directions. In all 3 of these cases, I listened to their stories, and in each case, I heard myself offering the exact same advice. You have one college experience, and you have one life to live. Quiet the outside voices telling you what to do, and let your inner voice be your guide. Commitment flows from passion in the pursuit. Don't try too hard to fit your life into what you think it should look like. Your life is out there if you're willing to live it. Little did Emmy, Marco, and Will know that at the time, I was watching their every step. I was desperate to take my own advice, and I wanted to see if they were brave enough to take the leap. All 3 of them did. Will Robertson graduated, and he just started his own music production company. Emmy left early to go to Nepal on a 2-month climbing expedition, and she summited Le Boucher East. She just finished her first wilderness contract with Eagle Rock Schools. And Marco did leave the school that semester, and he moved to his native Seattle. I last saw him in the pages of REI magazine where he was a model. No doubt his dream job. These students showed me that it was worth the risk to follow their dreams, to honor their authentic selves and interests, and to embrace adventure. And adventure in this case is defined as uncertainty and outcome. That was in 2012. Their story encouraged me to take on my own adventure and accept to myself first, reveal to my husband second, and reveal to my poor, she wasn't expecting this, mother third, my gay identity. And in doing so, I flipped my entire heteronormative world completely on its head. Like Emmy, Marco, and Will, making hard decisions to live authentically is not without its hardships. And most days, I feel like I'm standing on the edge of a really exposed rock climb, and I have a lot more questions than I have answers. But I've learned through this experience that that's okay. It certainly hasn't made life any easier, but it has overwhelmingly brought more clarity, meaning, and purpose to my life. Living authentically has drastically improved the quality of my relationships. I feel so much more connected to people because I'm no longer afraid of being seen. As such, those in my life, they see, they value, and they hear the real me because I'm willing to put it out there, and that feels awesome. Living authentically has made me a much more compassionate person. I recognize struggle in others, and I can sit with them in it. And I realize that struggle is a catalyst for genuine growth, so I never want to rob them of that experience. Finally, it has given me the courage to do things I thought I could never do. The best part, though, of being real is that I no longer attach my sense of self-worth onto what other people think of me. It used to be that I was so afraid to put myself out there, because if I received any negative feedback, I would be completely crushed. Now, my goal is authenticity. If I put myself out there and you don't like what I have to give, I'm no worse off because at least I was real. I can stand on my own 2 feet knowing this. Ironically, authenticity then feels a lot safer, and failure a lot less frightening. I want to thank Will, Marco, and Emmy for being my guides, and I love it when students are in the position to teach me such powerful lessons. I want to thank you for sharing in your struggles and your successes with me. And I want to thank all of you for sharing in mine. Thank you. You did it.
I think sometimes we forget, maybe not, how tough it is to say, yes, I'd love to share my story and activate, and then to actually do it. So for all of them, yes. To that end, I have a glutton for punishment. Eric is back. Yeah. Some of you may remember our next speaker from our inaugural session last year. He has worked in experiential learning for over a decade as a high school teacher, a ropes course facilitator, NOLS instructor, and currently at the University of Oregon. While new, still fairly, can't write, it's all right. He's still fairly new to AEE. He finds inspiration in metaphors derived from the mundane, humor all around him, and on occasion, writes his expeditionary reflections as raps. Yeah. Let's give it up for Eric Boggs.
With tailwinds, my ideas glide at 37,000 feet above the Bering Sea, brainstorming leadership expeditions in my lead. A bit blurry, because I be back in time. Above the international date line, I'm fine, and I will arrive 22 minutes after my departure. Not sure, for I fly east to the west, shunning my geocentric constructs with ease. It's negative 58 degrees with a cool breeze from my faltering fan. I plan Portland via Tokyo. Here we go. I plot Anchorage as the x-axis to Honolulu's y, and I try to map this Cartesian plane as it carves the